Yes.
Thank you. And I'm going to say welcome as well. I'm part of the working group 1, which deals with societal needs aspects of this post action. And if you think I forgot to put the names on the slides, you're wrong. I did this on purpose to test your eyesight. I'm Christina, or also I can shuffle in here and see which one am I. I'm Christina, and together with Helen Roy and Kelly, who's somewhere in the room over there. Yes, we are co-leads of working group number 1. Who's dealing with communication and dissemination activities, stakeholder engagement, so a lot of talking. And we try to come up with some publication within the context of societal needs. Under Working Group 1, there's also a subgroup, Vector AI, and Jeff over here and Tamara will tell you a little bit about it in the next minutes. So welcome to Jess. She's our new co-lead of Working Group 1. She's not new in the action, but now she's taking on more responsibilities. So thank you, Jess. And quickly to go over our activities since the meeting in Albania, we tried to engage different stakeholders, a lot of stakeholders. And just as an example, this workshop was organized at ENTO 25, which is the conference of entomology organized by the Royal Entomological Society. So we were invited over there to hold a workshop on meeting societal needs through image-based insect AI technologies. We had close to 40 participants from different countries, including India, Canada, South Africa. So there were a lot of interesting talks happening, discussions, and the insect AI cost action was featured in the bulletin of the Royal Entomological Society. So check it out. It's mentioned over there. So advertising, yes. Very straightforward. So we had a lot of discussion with different people interested in the subject of insects and artificial intelligence. Many things were, many aspects were approached, and we ended up with asking them to use one word to describe what comes to mind. The first thing that comes to mind when you think, when they thought about using AI technologies, and it was interesting. So there's a lot of potential. People recognize the potential. It's exciting apparently, but also there are some challenges, let's say, that need to be dealt with. So just to mention a couple of the other activities that we have ongoing in Working Group 1, we finished drafting a manuscript that is dedicated to kids, to young minds. So we are planning to submit it. We plan to submit it to Frontiers for Young Minds, but the website is down. The submission doesn't work for some months now. And the new announcement on the website is saying that towards the end of this year, this will happen to be running again. So we don't know yet if we need to reconfigure our way and submit to another journal. But the focus is, yes, to engage kids and tell them about insects, how exciting they are, and to learn about artificial intelligence as well. And another paper has been submitted. You can hear more about it if you attend Iris' talk on Thursday. I think there are no parallel sessions running, so you have to attend it, actually. And I realize now that I am advertising his talk, but I didn't advertise our workshop that's happening after lunch. So please check that out as well, because we're going to be talking about how to best implement such technologies that you are all developing and working hard on. And another publication that we have in mind, and we've been discussing for a while now is aimed at reviewing insect monitoring and conservation technologies that are used for insect monitoring and conservation, and also to meet societal needs. So we want to see which sector are benefited by computer vision. So still like an approach, a stakeholder driven approach that we are aiming for here. And to answer these questions that we have in mind, what we did, or what we plan to do, is a systematic literature review. So we used keywords and performed a search on Web of Knowledge and Scopus, and ended up with 6,000 papers. And this is something that we've been discussing yesterday at yesterday's workshop as well, and ways on how to actually make this systematic literature review feasible and realistic, because we can't screen 6,000 papers. It's not going to happen. So we came up with some criteria for exclusion of papers already for a while now. Yes, we ended up with close to 500 relevant titles. And that's one part of the things that we did. We also came up with a template we discussed among us for a while now. Again, a lot of discussion happening, which is good, it's perfect. And we came up with a template to be filled in with information extracted from said papers to answer the questions that we set out to answer. And what we did lately, since our meeting in Albania, is to actually ask the help of AI to help us fill in this template. So we have it filled in already. So we extracted the information from those almost 500 papers, but can we actually trust artificial intelligence? So we need, oh, damn it. Is it over? Or we don't get 1 minute warning? Thank you. Okay, so we need volunteers to help us screen this paper so we can see if AI is actually reliable. So Vector AI, sorry.
Vector AI, Subgroup Working Group 1, lots of ongoing projects, collaborations with other cluster actions and institutes within other countries. Really exciting. Have some outputs, explore them. Ongoing projects, also cool. We'd love to hear if anyone else is interested. Please chat to Mara or myself or Kelly or any Working Group 1 if you'd like to hear more.
Yes, Tamara, say something, please. She's Tamara. She's happy to meet you.
Yeah, they are planning to have regular meetings and would be happy to welcome new members if anyone is interested. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we will hear something about Working Group 2. Luca, please. You also have 5 minutes.
Oh, I thought I would get a nice background too, but apparently I don't. That's great. Hi, everyone. I'm Luca. I am one of the Working Group 2 colleagues together with Quentin, that is not here today. And well, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce a new Working Group 2 colleague, Lea Haider from University of Marburg. I will be very brief, so I guess I will only highlight 3 results and 1 upcoming event for Working Group 2. So the Working Group 2 is about is born of a need basically from the fragmented hardware landscape, and we basically deal with the devices that collect the images and potentially process them in the field, while Working Group 3 will have the analysis part covered basically. As you will see in the hardware showcase that we have later today, there are a lot of different devices that do a lot of different things. And this makes it a little bit difficult to enter the field of automated monitoring, makes them a little bit difficult to find. And yeah, it basically creates a barrier to entering this new emerging field. So one of the projects that we've been working towards since the beginning of the action was a hardware database. And I guess this is the official launch of the Insect AI hardware database. You can find it here, or if you Google Insect AI hardware database, we have the first result, thankfully. It's very much a prototype and a work in progress. We had a workshop yesterday to refine the questionnaire questions. And the purpose of this is basically collecting information and helping people to find the device that suits their need best. At the moment, we don't have that much data. We will need the help of the community to fill this in and make it useful, but we'll hear from us soon enough. Another product that has taken up a lot of our bandwidth and has been incredibly successful so far is a summer school that we run every year in Aarhus. This is organized together with Working Group 3, and Jamie is one of the co-organizers of this. And this is basically to build the capacity in the ecological and entomological community to use automated monitoring methods. Because often the students and practitioners don't have the skills required to enter the field. And on the flip side, data scientists and engineers don't have the biological knowledge and the questions that are most important for the field. So we want to bring together these two sides and basically build capacity and collaborations in the new generation of researchers that are starting to enter the field. Applications are still open until the end of the month. So there is still time if you want to send this to your students or interested parties. And it's going to be from the 14th of and to the 18th of September in Aarhus. Then a new entry for this year, we are gonna run, actually, Lea mostly is gonna run the Insect AI Bionic Blitz. And this is a 3-day event, which we are already fully booked for in Marburg, Germany, where a bunch of different technology providers, people that develop or work with hardware, will go together in the same place and basically try to compare in the field, trying to do the monitoring, the pros and cons, and basically build the capacity within that. The last thing that I want to update you on is an upcoming or an ongoing project, which is this Kit for Kids that is planned as an output for next year. And we are basically trying to build a low-cost educational kit for school children that supports image acquisition and basic AI for insect recognition. There is a workshop tomorrow afternoon on that, so you're welcome to join and sort of hear what we're at. We're at the early design phase, so this is a good time to plug in and shape the development. And hopefully this will be towards the development of sort of a product towards the end of the action. I think I'm done, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Luca, very much. And Jamie, please, Working Group 3. But you have 15 minutes. Strange. All others have only 5. So.
Don't ask, don't get.
3. Okay, this is yours, huh?
That's us.
Enjoy.
Hello, I'm Jamie. I've asked for 15 minutes to talk to you specifically about this Datathon event we had. I would say I co-lead the Working Group 3 image processing group with Walter Koch, and Chirag Padipidri, who can't be here, unfortunately. And yeah, we had this Datathon. What's a Datathon? We made it up. It doesn't actually exist. But it's basically like a hackathon, but for standardizing data. And the reason we had this is because we're working on these reports for how to standardize data from, for example, insect camera traps. But we wanted to spend a bit more time on actually the doing of the standardization process and kind of the active standardization, and also provide examples for the community. So the first thing we wanted to do is take these mini data sets that we gathered from various members of the community, and then have some code, which would bring us to our standardized data, which would be completely machine readable and would all be nice and joined up, which is something that we're all interested in doing. And then we have this stored on a GitHub, which I'm going to show you in a second. You can all access and play with as you like. But we also wanted to collate issues about the standardization process. So what's not working for our data? What do we need? And specifically, we're working with the CANTRAP DP data standard and ways of expanding that. And you should watch the space for some 2 reports coming out of Working Group 3 and have a look at those if you want to learn more about that. So we did actually have a member of the CamTrap DP development team in the Datathon. So we really have a kind of direct line with the standard now, which is really, really great. And then finally, we wanted to show what do you get out of having standardized data, and start to demonstrate the process of bringing together data sets in a really easy and automated way, potentially looking at how we push to GBIF and looking at data sets using open source tools. And I'll give an example of that in a second. So this is what we produced over the course of 2 days. And you can actually access this, and I really encourage you to just have a look and a browse in here. The whole point of this is you can now look in here under data sets, see the many data sets, see what it was like before, look at what it's like afterwards, and how you get from one to the other. And that we have many different starting points captured in these many data sets. So you should really dive in here and just have a look around. And the idea is to make standards less scary for everyone, basically. You can see down here we had contributions from 20 different contributors, quite evenly spread, with one exception. Asker didn't get much sleep, and that was really good, because then we had this kind of automated system in the GitHub where it would every time you make a pull request, it would go through and check every single data set and whether it adhered to these different aspects of the standardization. And you can see that some of these are still a work in progress. But we have a few little green dots here, and we found the green dot system was actually quite motivating for some of the participants. I'm assured also there's at least one extra green dot since last night. Yeah, it's even better than it looks. Yeah, and I think this is really nice. But of course, the other thing about we actually managed to look at some of those green dots data sets and use this BioWatch tool, which is kind of an open source tool to access CamTrap DP formatted data. And we found that when we pointed that at our formatted data, suddenly we can browse it and it's all fancy and shiny like this. So really to demonstrate that there is a benefit of the standardization process. Yeah, but most importantly, we created this kind of community of practice. We have this shared experience of the standard, so many discussions about what we need and what might need to change. And I guess the starting point for more and more conversations in this space. And to kind of demonstrate that, we're going to have just really brief flash talks from 4 of the data sets. They're going to tell you about the challenges they faced and some things they learned about the standardization process. So I believe it's about of us.
Yes. Thank you. So together with Faiz Hassan, we adopted the data set made by Paul with these Raspberry Pi cameras, mostly pointing at flowers and monitoring what visits these flowers. And we obtained a green dot, which was kind of the whole goal for us. Very motivating. The main challenge we face is that we had just one big data set of pictures, and it was hard for us to distinguish the deployments from each other because we didn't have locations. So we kind of took the camera model from the EXIF information and the day, and that kind of, but not fully overlaps with what a deployment is. Other than that, we've been heavily using Claude Code. So the real chief data wrangler is not me, but Claude Code. And that was very useful to yeah, I think that was a great pipeline to use in these standardization events where you have a defined standard and a data set and to bring them together in this way. So yeah, thanks for the data set. It was a pleasure working with it. I learned a lot about the standard. We first put it into vanilla CamTrap DP and then into the extension, and it worked nicely. So kudos to Chirag, who prepared the standard. Yeah.
Elspeth.
Yeah, I was in the group that worked on insect detect data sets. I'm not used to this data set, but I'm working on the Diopsis for Naturalis. But this data set is about recording on the device and doing also the analysis on the device. It's an artificial flower platform with on-edge detection and tracking and offline classification of crops offline. So we created a mapping. We split our group. One was doing the Gemini approach, and the other by discussing and about the data set and how to make a mapping. Our conclusions were it takes time for both cases to compile a proper data set because you need extra information. It's not just you have a bunch of media images and an annotation and you throw it into some repository, but it takes time to really care that you have all the information there. And I think that's good. It's not a bad thing, but it's a good thing to standardize this. So you have to, for instance, provide longitude and latitude of the plot where it was recorded, etc. You don't have this beforehand most of the time. Track ID and event ID were concepts that were not so easily to interpret, and maybe that can be improved along the way. And with Gemini, you can create a mapping and scripts, and you can let Gemini create propose a mapping, then you refine it, and then let Gemini create the scripts. That worked very well. So would be nice if you could eventually create some agent or something that can help people to convert their data sets. But that's, I think, work in progress. And yeah, you learned a lot.
Great. And then Valentin?
All right, so this is another plant pollinator interaction data set. We used smartphones to collect these images, and they have a time-lapse nature. The insects were identified at mixed ranks, so order, family, genus, species. And when I worked with experts in entomology, they also defined some groups like morphospecies or cluster of genera or clusters of families. The full data set, it's on Zenodo, it's public. You can download it, use it to train models, which I'm also doing. It's my own data set. What I have learned about standardization so far, well, standards, and codes, or they express the community that wrote them. So, of course, ChemTrap DP was designed for the needs of camera traps for mammals. One thing that is really important for me is to see how we can accommodate interaction data. So, insect, maybe it's the center of the analysis, but also the plant as well. We monitor insects because we care about plant reproduction. The ecology happens through interaction. So it's very important to accommodate a platform that includes that data set. Would be interesting to see in Camera Trap DP things like formalizing informal ranks, like I mentioned, like something like morphospecies or cluster genera that sometimes entomologists define. And I'm going to tell you why is this important, because imagine you identify something at the family level, and maybe at that location you have hundreds of genera for that family. So somebody can say like, no, it can be actually just these two genera. So that carries useful information for further statistical analysis as well. So like morphological or functional traits. And as was already discussed in the other presentations, I think it's very important to accommodate insect tracking data, or at least to have a bit more clarity in the description of these fields in the schema. There is event ID, there is individual ID. Maybe we need something like track ID for insects, because it's very hard to know that the same individual comes and visits that target flower. That's it from my side.
And then Hubert.
Great. So I had a Mothbox data set, or rather a portion thereof. So you can see here, our data is pretty big. We have very high resolution files. Like this was the data set this was derived from. This was 4 days of sampling last year, and 228 gigabytes, thousands of files, and tens of thousands of detections. So when Jamie said, give me a data set that's less than 200 megabytes, it was a bit of a challenge, but I did that by cutting out all of the source images and just adding in the data set the individual detections of insects. So that was one of my challenges, kind of aligning the media with that. Also, we have lots of metadata that doesn't perfectly align with the ChemTrap DP standard, which is designed for the mammal camera traps. So kind of in this process, I was aligning what I could and just making a big dump of these are the things that I haven't been able to align, and maybe we as the insect AI community can see if there are patterns of things that we can't cobble into this system, and maybe we can then add them separately. We didn't pass the validation step that some of the data sets did yet, but we're close. It always feels like one step away. My main takeaway is I'm really excited for this to enable us to look at other people's data sets with our kind of annotation tools and validation tools. And right now, that hasn't really been possible. So that's what I'm excited about.
Great. And if you want to hear more about that, we're not going to have time for questions, but you should ask these people in the break, and you should visit this the GitHub page. And a quick plug for this paper, which we've been working on with Luca and Wall and many other people from the Action. It's a review paper covering the use of all different kinds of sensors for insect monitoring. Yeah, please take a look. We're finding a home for that. It's currently into Evo Arxiv. And yeah, that's us.
Sorry for this cable. Morning practice. Okay, and now working group 3. Charlie et al. Or you're alone. Okay. The second, you have only 5 minutes.
That's fine.
It's fine. This is working group 4. And? But wait. It's a PDF, huh? Okay. Then we need to move here.
We'll make it full screen. How do we do it? Who knows the shortcut? Always forget it. Oh. There we go. Excellent. Yeah, hi everyone. It's great to be back in another annual meeting and seeing some, now friends for sure, and hopefully here to make some new friends as well. So I'm very excited to be here. So I'm Charlie Althwaite. I'm a co-lead of Working Group 4, along with Joe at the back and Julie, who's not here today, unfortunately. I'm just going to give you a short update on the things we've been working on so far. So first off, we've got a paper that we've been working on. There are 29 co-authors, so it's pretty big. But this is thinking about how we could integrate traditional monitoring practices with automated vision-based methods, and thinking about how we can bring these things together to understand trends over time more effectively. So our whole work package is about data analysis and data integration. And our first step was trying to think about how all this new and exciting information that we can get from computer vision methods can help support and supplement what is already going on with traditional monitoring as well. So I think it's really important to maintain that we're not replacing traditional monitoring with a lot of these new methods, but they're there and they bring different benefits that can help improve our understanding of what's happening to insects. So we've got some work ongoing on this paper. We've got some cool figures, and we've got a bit of a first draft on the go. So hopefully we'll be pushing that forward very soon. We've also been working on a toolbox. So one of our deliverables for Working Group 4 is to deliver a kind of package of tools to make analysis easier for people, because as we know, there's a lot of technical ability required to work in this area. We've got hardware, software, statistical analysis. It's a lot for people to learn, especially for students coming through and trying to do all of those things together. So we're trying to put together a toolbox where we can figure out what people are using to make their lives easier, what resources are available, and have them all in one place. So just like the other working groups, we also have an awesome list on GitHub, which you can add to and work on with us. So far, we've just been focusing on data exploration kind of tools, but we're hoping to have an SSTM. Oh, I can't say it now, Joe. SDSM. We had this yesterday. STSM working on expanding this later this year. So if you've got any tools that you use that make your life easier, please feel free to share them with me or to add them to our GitHub repository as well, because I think it's really important that we make each other's lives easier, right? This is what collaboration is all about. Don't struggle alone, and hopefully we can provide some resources for you alongside this. Great. And then I guess coming soon, we had a workshop yesterday where we're trying to think about developing a common modeling framework, or at least providing resources for people to undertake integrated analyses. So thinking about bringing two data sets together where you're trying to understand, say, insect abundance or whatever it might be, and bringing them into one model so that you can model this data together, as bringing data sets together can improve our inference and help balance out any potential biases and build on the strengths of individual data sets. So yesterday we spent some time thinking about what are the kind of issues that we need to account for within our statistical framework based on the kind of data sets that we might be using. And we're hoping to build some kind of decision tree, or perhaps some way to get people to ask themselves questions when they're going through their analysis to help guide them into the methods and resources available, because this can be quite complicated. We know a lot of our monitoring data has many biases, and we have to account for these in certain ways in our models, but it's not always clear or obvious how to do that. So we're hoping to provide some resources, point people in the right direction by using this decision tree, but also hopefully working with some case studies. So if you have any data that you think would be useful, we'd love to know, but case studies where we apply this decision tree kind of framework to see where the gaps are and how it can be useful as well. And we'll hopefully have an STSM working on this too, to try and build up these resources and apply them to data sets as well. So I think that was a really productive workshop. It was a lot of brain work, but I think it went really well. So thanks to all who participated in that. Yeah, as I said, we're going to expand the toolbox. So we are looking to add more analysis tools into this. So please do share those if you have if you have any information for that, and we'll be adding those to the GitHub Awesome list as well. So one other thing I wanted to highlight is a new opportunity that we are looking for people to become involved. So Frederick, who's here, has proposed working on a paper to discuss detectability issues related to insect camera traps, and highlighting some of the potential issues, making these more clear to people as they're working in this area. So there are lots of considerations just with kind of computer vision based monitoring that we have to think about that could affect the results that we get at the end. So thinking about the issues ahead of the game will hopefully improve the inferences, the ease of inference at later points. So Frederick would love to talk to people interested in joining this, and we've got a few kind of ideas on what this might include. So perhaps a systematic review where we can identify the important metadata, and of course this is going to highlight a lot in this, of the standards group and the things that they found to be important. And we've also, or Frederick's also identified a potential funding opportunity here as well. We could perhaps work on this together in a smaller group too. So yeah, if you're keen on talking about these issues, then we would love to hear from you, and we'll be around as well if you want to come up and say hi. But as with all the other working groups, yeah, we're all very happy to have more input on the things that we are doing. The more the merrier, and it would be lovely to talk to you all. So please do feel free to come up and say hi. We're not scary. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we finish with these reports for working groups, and we will move to next part of this morning session. And I will invite Justin Carmen